Hi, my name is Martijn Pauwle, Director of Dutch Design Foundation. We organize Dutch Design Week, Dutch Design Awards and a lot of other projects as well. First let me say a few words on Dutch design. I think it's a moving forward inventor's mentality, always trying to make life a little bit better. You know, more sustainable, more practical, more functional, more social, what have you. Always moving forward. And it's beyond, you know, the aesthetical facade. We want to really go to the core of an issue. So Dutch designers are maybe a little bit bold, maybe a little bit rude sometimes, because they keep on asking questions, the question beyond the question, always trying to find the core to come up with, you know, a new solution. I feel that's the mentality. Today we're meeting two award-winning Dutch designers, Mathilde Boelhouwer and Marjan van Arbel, both embracing natural phenomena within their designs. I find it really fascinating. Hey,
Hi.
Mathilde. Hi. You are a designer embracing nature, biology, insects, and yet here we are in the middle of the city. Why?
Well, because the last 25 years we've had an insect population decline of an astonishing 75%, and that is due to a couple of reasons, but one of them is the lack of food. And we can use cities and unused spaces of the cities to grow flowers, in this case robotic flowers.
Okay, so you want to show us what a desolate place the city is for insects at this moment and how we possibly can solve this.
Yes, exactly.
Using technology and design.
Using technology, design and biology.
Okay, well, let's go.
Yes.
So if I look at the city around me, I see a lot of stones and I see roofing and cold, barren facades. How can insects survive here?
Well, these are all places we could use to plant robotic flowers or actual real flowers, but we still have to do it.
So you would advise everyone to put as many flowers as possible in the little space that we have, but yet that's not going to solve the problem, is it? It's a small contribution.
Yes, it's a small contribution, and every contribution is a meaningful one, but the more we can do to provide insects with enough food and enough diversity in food, the better it is. People can make use of the facade of their building or their balcony.
Plant flowers and that's the solution?
Plant a lot of flowers, and unfortunately only the spaces between the front door and the sidewalk aren't enough. So my flowers make use of the building facades without a lot of maintenance.
So hang on, you're saying one of the problems with insects in the city is that they have to travel too far from their home to where they can get, well, their food.
Yes, exactly. The further you need to fly from your home to your food, the less energy you will have, and you will need this energy station to pump up your energy a little bit to be able to fly to the actual flower.
Okay, so your invention, your design will help them to bridge that enormous distance.
Yes, exactly.
So this is your insect fuel station.
Yes, this is a prototype insect fuel station. They have a tube system and a little pump that constantly fills up this sugar water reservoir. But this is one part of the communication to the insects that this is actual food they can eat. Insects navigate on flowers by three main characteristics. That's color, shape and smell. Color and shape are mainly for short distance navigation. So when you would fly here in the street, you would see this flower and go to it.
Okay.
Smell is mostly for longer distance navigation and also communication to the rest of the hive where these flowers could be found. But because this is an addition to their normal diet, we don't want to teach them that this is an endless food source.
Oh wow, because if you would put in smell, you would make them lazy, they would only come here.
Exactly, then it would turn into an insect McDonald's.
And this is the most attractive flower shape for these insects?
I have developed 5 archetypical flower shapes for the 5 most important pollinators. Those are the bee, the bumblebee, hoverfly, butterfly and moths. Most people know about the bee and their big role in pollination, but there's also a specific type of flowers that aren't pollinated by bees, but by bumblebees or hoverflies.
So these are prototypes. Where are you with the development?
Well, as you can imagine, this is a research that contains lots of details. For example, bacterial growth inside the sugar water reservoirs, what materials we can use, toxicity, etc., etc. So a lot of stuff to dive into, and also a lot of stuff that not many existing researchers are about.
Okay, so you need to combine a lot of disciplines probably to get this forward, to move this forward?
Yes, exactly. And that's why we are always on the lookout for new collaborations that can be in any field, basically. Medical, engineering, architecture, city development. And then we can start building big flower fields all over the world.
Gardens of these flowers all over the world. That's your end goal?
Yes.
All right. If you add a little bit of smell, that would be really nice as well, but just for us.
But that's mostly for you.
becomes the bottle. You put in the teapot, it becomes the teapot. And water can flow, or it can crash.
Design is no longer only for aesthetic purposes. It can help us to rethink how to deal with challenges like the climate crisis. Do we make effective use of the technologies we have, and how can we add value by collaborating on these challenges? Marjan van Ouwel is an inspiring, award-winning solar designer.
Hey Marjan, thanks. Marjan, please help and introduce us. What is solar design?
Well, solar design is, I'm working with solar energy, solar panels, and I think if we think about solar panels, we think about the blue panels on the roof.
The ugly ones.
Ugly? I don't think they're ugly. I mean, I would say badly integrated.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's an amazing technology. It's like just as a surface, it takes sunlight and converts that into energy that we can use right on the spot itself. But I think it needs an update.
Okay, and what can that update be?
Well, to really think like, how do we want to live with this technology, and what else can we do with this, and can we integrate it better into our life, in our buildings, in our objects even, and that's what a solar designer does. And I think we still have the possibilities like, how do we want our future to be, which future are we going to choose, and what decision do we have to take now? And I think that's important to bring a design perspective in this topic actually.
Okay, and what can a designer contribute to this?
I think it's more also like adding the more emotional value to it. Okay, so what kind of relationship do you have with it? How do you feel connected to it? I think that's kind of like what's missing on that. So you put it on the roof, you don't look at it, you kind of don't want to look at it because often it doesn't really fit with your
You're
building.
Just looking at the app, how much energy am I collecting?
That's what it is. It's just a number on your energy bill, and it's not something like, oh, how does it work? How can I, for example, like a plant or something, you really want to take care of it, and you want to see how it's growing, how is it doing? And I think stuff like that, I mean, maybe it's me, but I think that's super interesting that we should add. There are like different ways of doing this. For example, this is a different technology. This is also a solar panel. I mean, now we're talking, right? This is something you can design with because it's flexible. You can. It has a color. Do you want to have it in sort of window blinds, or sort of as a table, for example, or can it be sort of stained glass windows?
It's becoming prettier. I agree, and it's still functional as we're used to, with the big panels on the roof.
Solar panels are becoming the cheapest source of energy. I think we should move away a bit from that question of efficiency, because if the price is so much cheaper, we don't you can just have more surface, and then that's still okay, because it's the same price as the old. We don't have to have this tiny rectangular thing on the corner of our roof because it's so expensive. Now we can cover a whole facade with solar panels.
And are you designing for those sorts of facades?
Yeah, for example, you can make your facade look like marble, for example. You print on the solar panels and it's still harvesting energy, for example.
You're also making, objects that collect solar energy. Can you tell a little bit about that?
I saw this technology that you basically have a colored surface that is glass, or this is not glass anymore, but it was glass, so what? If you think like that as a designer, what can you make with that? So I started as really with a simple glassware. So you can see here the energy connection. So when you don't use your cup or something, you put it in the cabinet, and the cabinet then stores the energy. So it was for me the first time that I thought then everything can be a solar panel. Everything can be a little power station within your home.
Yeah, I can imagine if you start there, your head just explodes with ideas, and so where is this taking us?
Now I'm working on a light. This is like a sun, and you hang it in front of the window. The other side is solar panels. It's collecting the energy now as we speak, storing that, and then in the evening, it's sort of natural connection you have again with the sun. So you have like sunset, you have sunrise and sunlight if you want to read a book. And hopefully in the future all our objects will function like that, so they're autonomous and would power themselves. Yeah, examples are, for example, work on the Dutch pavilion for the World Expo 2020, which is held now in 2021. And there we made the whole roof of colored solar panels. So when you're inside the building, you kind of experience this church-like feeling. There's a big food tower there, and the energy of those panels giving power to the pavilion and to the plant system.
You're also working on a solar movement because you want to take this further, right?
Yeah, it's nice that I'm thinking as a designer, okay, how can I change this? But I see a lot of people in different disciplines and fields that are doing the same. What is the future of solar? How can we all agree that the panels on the roof is not the way to go? So instead of all working these silos, how can we work together? And I was met and Pauline van Dongen. She's a designer that integrates solar into fashion, and we didn't even know each other. So we're like, this is kind of ridiculous. So we kind of brought all the people we know in that are doing a really good thing in the solar industry or in the solar field. So that are philosophers, people in that work on the the technology himself. And we came together and said where do we want to go to and how are we going to do that? So this became the solar movement. The question was what do we need to do to change the narrative on the perspective on solar energy? And that's a sort of result of that is a solar biennial that will be next year, where we show different examples, a different future of solar energy, together with workshops, and really make this movement bigger step by step. We start as our Dutch community. Okay, this is an answer we have, but of course the answer is different than, for example, South Africa or in Australia. Also, the sun is different there. Yeah. Here in the winter, the sun is quite low, so you can have very nice solar on facades, for example. But there are in different places there are different solutions. So I think it's also nice to learn from each other there.
I love October, head in the wind, don't stop. You know love is right around the corner. Not this year, colors faded in me. All I know is I'm getting things in order.